Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday night. It is 7 o'clock. And that can only mean one thing. We are live for our regular weekly 1 hour stream. Welcome to Histo Chat. And I'm not going to waste any seconds here. We're going to get rolling, looking at our footage for this week. And to start things off, I figure, of course, why not look at the Arizona to start things off. Wolf, what is up, my friend? How has your week been? As you can see, we're starting off with USS Arizona. I'm sure you could probably figure out why, of course. So, for those who may not be watching this live, if you're watching on the replay, today is December 8th, and that can only mean one thing. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. Pearl Harbor, FDR. Wolf says, it's been good. Just finished watching Die Hard. Quick question for you, Wolf. If you just watched Die Hard, as you know, a lot of people consider Die Hard to be a Christmas movie. Are you one of the people that consider Die Hard to be a Christmas movie? And again, we're checking out USS Arizona here. Of course, we all know why Arizona is such a big deal. I just quoted FDR's opening lines for his speech, the date which will live in infamy. Wolf says it's a Christmas movie. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people consider that a Christmas movie, so I'm not surprised. Wolf, you're a ship nerd just like me. Thoughts? Pearl Harbor. Got a better one for you. When did you, and this can maybe you can answer when you first got into ships as well, because I don't know if I ever asked you that, but when did you first start learning about Pearl Harbor and subsequently World War II? I want to say I was in elementary school. I remember that much. I don't remember exactly what grade I was in when we started learning about it. Maybe third or fourth grade. Um, I'm not sure. It's around that time. Um, I don't remember exactly what year. And of course, we continued to learn about them as we progressed through grade school. Don't think I ever learned about Titanic in school. It was never a subject. I mean, obviously, World War II, United States being involved in it or getting basically drug into it by by the events of Pearl Harbor. You know that it's a given that we were going to learn about that at some point. And Arizona here was a Pennsylvania class battleship. She only had one sister ship, the USS Pennsylvania, which obviously was the lead ship of the class, being a Pennsylvania class ship. One of the things that's interesting about the Arizona, the Arizona was actually a pretty old ship by the time of the attack. I want to say she was somewhere between 20 and 25 years old because Arizona was built, I believe, 1915, 1916 in that era, in that area somewhere. Wolf says, I knew about Pearl Harbor since I was really young, but didn't know much about USS Arizona was blown up And I got into World War II history in 2017 when I played one of the original Call of Duty games. Well, kudos to Call of Duty for doing their part in getting you interested in world history. Will says, I learned more about Pearl Harbor from playing a game called Medal of Honor Rising Sun. I remember, and of course, like I said, I knew about Pearl Harbor by this point. I remember in the early 2000s when Return to Castle Wolfenstein came out. And there, they had a multiplayer map where it was basically simulating storming the beaches at Normandy. And that became one of my all-time favorite games. And that was without a doubt, the most memorable map to me ever. I can still visualize playing that map in my head. You have to infiltrate. If you're an Allied troop, you start off on the beach, and you got to go into the German bunker, fort, whatever you call it. And the objective was you had to steal some top secret documents. They don't tell you what the documents are for, but you had to go to this radio room upstairs in the upper level of the bunker. And if you successfully transmitted the docs, the Allies win the map. Axis, of course, win by defending and never letting the Allies transmit the documents. So, we're also going to be looking at USS New Orleans tonight. And as you can see, USS New Orleans is right here, and she is this week's video. Our video of the week is part 1 of building the USS New Orleans here. Part 2 will come out next week. Will says, I played that game before on my old PS2. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was excuse me. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty old game by today's standards. I didn't even realize that was actually on PS2. What about I hate to bring this one up, but the movie Pearl Harbor that came out in 2001. Have you ever seen that movie? And if so, what were your thoughts on it? I know for the most part, the movie is generally, it hasn't gotten good reviews for lots of various reasons. Weak storyline, probably not the greatest acting. A lot of historical inaccuracies in there as well. One that stands out to me a lot that is ship related is the fact that they have the Queen Mary in that movie, and it's the completely wrong paint scheme for the ship at the time when this movie takes place. Will says, I never watched it and don't want to. It's not so horrific, that it's not a good movie. Obviously, but I don't know. I've always said this about it. When the actual attack happens, is the only part where that movie shines. That's what Michael Bay does. He does explosions, and that's about all he's good at. That part of the movie shines, but even at one point, that part starts to drag on. The first 15 or 20 minutes of it, it's decent. They show the Arizona, the massive explosion when, for those who may not know, the reason why the Arizona had such a catastrophic explosion was, I'm going to take the ship here and show you. So here's the Arizona. Make. Make sure I've got it in camera. Right there. a torpedo went into the side, somewhere here around the first or second turret, and it went in just right to where the it went into like um, the ammunition room or whatever you want to call it, and that exploded. All the ammunition exploded. The thing went up into the air. You know, the ship lifted up into the air and broke right here and lifted at the same time. I'm probably not doing the greatest job of describing this, but that's essentially what happened to the ship. And right here, this section here is the bridge of the Arizona. And I can't say fun fact, just a fact, a matter of fact. You know, I always talk about the USS Kidd on this channel, and I've got videos of the Kidd. Well, Admiral Isaac C. Kidd, Rear Admiral Isaac C. Kidd, was on the bridge of the Arizona when the attack happened. He died on the Arizona, and that is the the man who the USS Kidd is named after. And subsequently, two more ships named USS Kidd came after the original ship. We got some more chat. Let me catch up here. The intro to the Midway movie was way better than that 2 hour mess. Oh, Midway was a good movie. In my opinion, a lot better. It didn't get great reviews either, but in my opinion, it was a great movie. I heard the movie Tora 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 was way better than Pearl Harbor. You know, I've never actually seen Tora 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 all the way through, but I don't think you'd find anyone who would disagree with that. Matt, what's up? Welcome, welcome. We're talking about, of course, yesterday was Pearl Harbor Day. That's kind of what we're talking about right here. We're talking about World War II as well in general. Wolf, I wonder what would have happened to USS Arizona if she survived Pearl Harbor. I would imagine, let's say, here's a hypothetical. Let's say the ship did suffer the attack, but it was able to be salvaged. It was not sunk. I would say, like some of the other battleships, she was eventually repaired, put back into service, and went on to fight in the Pacific Theater. That's what I think. Now, whether or not she would have survived till the end of the war, who knows? We don't know. I don't know. I can't think of offhand of any battleships that were lost after Pearl Harbor during the war. I'm not saying there aren't any. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of any. Wolf, I'm guessing she would have been either scrapped or nuked. I'm going to go with scrapped. We all know what happened with nukes there. But then again, I want to say we did use ships as tests for nukes in the Pacific. Matt had a long day, been up since 5:30, went help set up for the Christmas event Sunday. Sweet. What Christmas event is that exactly? But yeah, speaking of Torah, you mentioned Torah, Wolf, and I mentioned this in the Discord yesterday. Admiral Yamamoto, he was the mastermind of the Pearl Harbor attack. He is quoted in that movie, and people have believed this to be the case in real life. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in Tora Tora Tora, Yamamoto says a certain quote. And I'm sure you've heard it. I'm sure most people have. The quote is, "I fear that we have awoken a sleeping giant, and have filled him with terrible resolve. That is a quote from the movie. This quote was also used in the Pearl Harbor movie that Michael Bay did. And there is no evidence or proof anywhere in the historical record that Yamamoto ever said that or made that statement. It's nowhere to be found. Let's see. Her sister ship Pennsylvania was used for tests. Same with Nevada. Apparently, they are still at the bottom. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. I couldn't remember for sure if that was actually done or not. So yeah, that might have been what happened. To what I mean, it might have been what happened to the Arizona had she survived. It's an event hosted by an organization I've become part of, the 3Cs. It's like a mini fair, food, drinks, live music. I'll be shooting Santa photos. Well, sweet. Sounds like a good time. Going back to the Arizona for a minute, Wolf, I don't know if you knew this or not. I actually learned this today. There is an Arizona memorial in the state of Arizona, and I think it's in Scottsdale. I looked it up on Google Maps today, and it's right outside of Phoenix. And they actually have pieces of the ship at this memorial. And also, one of the big universities there, I don't remember if it's Arizona State or the University of Arizona, they actually have the USS Arizona's ship's bell on campus at one of those two universities. I forget exactly which one it is. But yeah, here we are just watching. As you see, of course, in Warships, she does not have the original cage masts like she had when she was first built. She's got those two towers going high up into the air. You see, these right here, these two towers, this and this, these were not original to the ship when they were built, when the ship was built. It originally had like these giant spiraling cage masts that went up onto the ship. And a lot of the battleships, American battleships of the time, had that. I believe USS Texas even had those as well before it was refitted. Wolf says, we're lucky to still have Texas, given every other pre-New Mexico class battleship was used in tests except USS Wyoming, which was a training ship, and USS Texas, of course. Yep. I mean, as we've discussed on this channel many times, USS Texas is the only dreadnought left in existence that you can actually... it wasn't scrapped. It's not lying in the bottom of an ocean somewhere. It's the only one that eventually you will be able to physically see and touch and walk on again. Wolf says, I didn't know the bell survived. Yes. Again, it's either the University of Arizona or Arizona State University. The ship's bell is there. Viola, welcome, my friend. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. All the delicious sweets recipes I see you've been putting out on your channel. Let's see. She says, I got to watch the movie. My son did, but I never did. Just a short stop here. This is awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm glad you stopped by. Hope you've been doing all right, and hope you guys are... Hope your holiday season is going well. And if I don't hear from you again before then, I hope you have a great Christmas, from my family to yours. Have a great Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And yeah, keep in touch. I've been watching your videos too. So I know I haven't been commenting much lately, but I do still follow your channel and I've been watching your stuff. Wolf says every U.S. battleship up until the North Carolina class had cage masts, even the pre-dreadnoughts. Yeah, of course they all didn't. As we see with the Arizona, we see with the Texas in real life, they all didn't keep those things. They were all eventually replaced with what you see currently on the Arizona. Some of them had one. Some of them, such as the Arizona, had two. Um, if you're still here, Viola, I would say you could probably pass on the Pearl Harbor movie. Unfortunately, uh, it's far from the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, but it's just not a very good movie. Um, if you weren't in here when I was say earlier about the movie really shines during the actual attack scene for about the good first 15, 20 minutes or so of that. After that, you could pretty much turn the movie off. Um, if you don't want spoilers for this movie, you may want to tune out because I'm just going to say it. The majority of the movie is this love triangle between the three main characters, and the movie. Oh, you're still here. Okay, great. So this movie is it's either almost 3 hours long or it's 3 hours long. I forget what. But you got three main characters: Kate Beckinsale, Ben Affleck, and Josh Hartnett, and it's this big love triangle. And this movie, up until the attack, is trying way too hard, in my opinion, to basically copycat James Cameron's Titanic. It's the whole fictional love story set against the backdrop of a major historical event. Whereas Titanic, the James Cameron movie, soars. The Pearl Harbor movie, it's just forget it. You as well, James. Thank you very much, Viola. Thank you. Wolflore, fun fact, the only ships to have cage masts after World War II was USS Colorado and USS Maryland, both sister ships. Um, were those the only two ships in that class, Wolf? And if so, which one was the lead of the class? Wow. Yes, that's really what that movie is all about. It's unfortunate because it's a cinematography looks great, but they got a lot of things wrong in the movie. A lot of historical inaccuracies as far as, for example, some of the ships they used were not accurate to the time. The Queen Mary is in the movie, but her paint scheme is completely wrong. I meant to comment about that earlier. So there is towards the beginning of the movie, Ben Affleck and Kate Beckinsale. I forget their characters' names. They're in this little boat, and I don't know if they're in a harbor or whatever, but they're in this little boat, and they're actually going past the Queen Mary, and it's a nighttime scene. Now, this is, of course, during World War II. Queen Mary is not a museum ship yet. She's in New York running the transatlantic route. Well, they've got the Queen Mary in the movie, but she is still painted in her original canard color scheme. That is completely inaccurate for what she would have been painted at the time. Queen Mary 2, or excuse me, not Queen Mary 2, the Queen Mary was a troop ship during World War One, and she is painted completely gray from bow to stern, from the waterline all the way up to the tops of the funnels. The ship was completely gray, and she had a nickname. She was called the Gray Ghost. And the reason she had that name was because she was so fast that was virtually impossible for German submarines to catch her and try to sink her by torpedoing her, like what Germany did to the Lusitania in World War One. So because of that great speed, they could never catch her, and the fact that she was completely painted gray, she had the nickname the Gray Ghost. Mahela says, that's unfortunate. I won't bother. No, you really don't have to. In fact, if you can find it, go on YouTube and I don't know, maybe try typing Pearl Harbor attack scene, Pearl Harbor 2001 attack scene, because the movie came out in 2001. If you watch that scene, you're good. You're really good. Everyone says Tora, Tora, Tora is the best movie about Pearl Harbor. I've never actually seen the movie all the way through, but I'm not going to debate anyone on that. I have no reason to not believe that. Wolf, the lead ship of the class was USS Colorado, and it consisted of West Virginia, Maryland, Washington. However, Washington was never finished because of the Washington Naval Treaty. Okay. Now, as you know, Wolf, USS Washington, BB-56, was her sister. USS North Carolina, BB-55. North Carolina was the lead of the class. Washington was her sister ship. Washington did not survive the scrapyards, unfortunately. North Carolina did. I toured her last year. Still got photos of that. It was a family trip, so I don't really have too many photos to share from the visit to the North Carolina. Also, Viola, if you ever want to check out, you've got two amazing ships. And I know you're in California. Next time you're in the Los Angeles, Long Beach area, if you ever want to tour two amazing historic ships, you've got two, I think, within an hour's distance from each other. You have the USS Iowa in, if it's not in LA, it's one of the suburbs of LA, but it's in that area. USS Iowa is the lead ship of its class, and it is the sister ship to this old girl right here, USS Missouri, the Mighty Mo. And we've got her here. Of course, the significance of the Missouri, on her decks is where the Japanese formally surrendered and World War II ended in 1945. On the decks of Mighty Mo. And Mighty Mo served in the Gulf War. And now, of course, she is a museum ship in Pearl Harbor. She stands guard over the remains of the Arizona. So that's one of the ships you can view. And of course, if you go to Long Beach, you have the greatest ocean liner, or one of the greatest ocean liners still in existence there too, but this one of them is not tourable, but this one is. You go to Southern Cal in Long Beach, and you can tour, and you can even stay on overnight on the Queen Mary. That's a bucket list thing for me. See the USS Iowa and the Queen Mary all on the same trip. That's like a dream trip for me. Will says, I would love to visit North Carolina. She's my favorite non-dreadnought battleship. You would love to see the North Carolina in person. She is a magnificent ship. Let's see. Callie has tons of ships. Iowa, Maryland, Hornet, and Midway. And of course, as you know, I have been on the Midway in San Diego. Wolf says, Queen Mary, I meant this is what happens when I text about USS Maryland. I get a similar named ship confused with it. No worries. It's all good. Yeah, there's only two true magnificent transatlantic ocean liners left in existence. SS United States being one of them in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, it is non-tourable. The Queen Mary in Long Beach would be the other. So I've got to see the Queen Mary someday. I can also, there's actually an Iowa that, the Iowa ship that's actually closest to me would be Big Whiskey, USS Wisconsin, which is an Iowa ship, BB-64. She is in Virginia, and I want to say Roanoke. I think she's in Roanoke. Oh, and as you can see, we finished our footage of the Arizona. We are now looking at the ship that is the star of the video this week, USS New Orleans, CA-32. And a little fun fact about USS New Orleans, she was in Pearl Harbor at the time of the attack getting engine repairs. And there was a story about New Orleans and Pearl Harbor. All of like the ammunition cabinets and everything were locked at the time of the attack. There was no power to the ship. It was getting engine repairs. And the guys on the decks were firing at the Japanese with rifles and pistols while being shot at the same time. Luckily, New Orleans was not destroyed or severely damaged during the attack. And that's how she survived to go on to serve the United States throughout the war. Billy, let's go, Mr. Bill Keys. Guys, go check out my buddy Bill Keys if you are into if you're into like Call of Duty. He mostly streams Call of Duty, but if you like video games in general, he streams a lot of different games. He's always a hoot to hang out with, so definitely go check out his channel. He's always a big supporter of my channel, so I mean it's only fair for me to pimp Billy as well. If you like Call of Duty, go give him a look. I think he played Police Simulator earlier this week. I think I'm going to have to go watch the replay on that because I think that might be kind of funny. Go see him tase somebody. I'm gonna get him to stream Warships someday. I'm gonna make a donation. I'm gonna make him stream Warships. But yeah, go check out Bill Keys on YouTube if you haven't. Good friend of mine and good supporter of the stream or of our channel. Did USS Wisconsin fight in the Gulf War? I am fairly certain that all of the Iowas did. I know all of the Iowas were reactivated prior to either for the Gulf War or prior to it. I want to say it was prior to the Gulf War. They decided to reactivate all of the Iowas, and they cannibalized a lot of parts from older ships, such as the Alabama and the North Carolina. A lot of parts were taken from those ships, so the Iowas could be updated or reactivated. Now, I'm fairly certain all of them fought in the Gulf War. If you want, you can fact check me on that. I mean, of course, we know for sure Missouri did. There's those famous short videos of tomahawks being fired off of Mighty Mo in the Gulf War. And I tell you, speaking of Missouri, and just getting on a little tangent for a minute, I know this is a bad movie, Battleship. I know it's a bad movie. I'm not going to say anything otherwise, but that is such a guilty pleasure. I love watching the end of that movie, when Mighty Mo goes back into action and kicks some alien butt. I mean, yeah, it's unrealistic that it's a museum ship now. It can't sail under its own power, but we're talking about a movie where aliens invade the Earth. Is it really all that hard to believe that, they could use the Mighty Mo to go kick some ass? Matt, you've been quiet. Are you still with us? Well, here we're watching the New Orleans kick some behind here. Well, the end of the movie is probably the best part. The end of the movie is easily the best part. You see it; they're getting the ship ready to sail again, and they got Thunderstruck by AC/DC playing while they're doing all that, and then you see Mighty Mo leaving the dock, and she's crashing through the waves in the ocean. Matt, yeah, I'm here about to fall asleep. Don't fall asleep yet. Well, so now I just watched parts of it on YouTube. Well, I always go back and watch the that part, the end of that movie, because the rest of it, it's pretty meh. But seeing Mighty Mo go out there, oh yeah, I can watch that all day. Another movie that it's this is actually not a bad one, but it got a lot of flack when it came out. It's a movie called U-571. Um, and the premise of that movie is um, a group of Americans on a sub, a captured German sub, go out to sea to capture another German sub and get the Enigma coding devices, which is a device that the Germans were using to send encrypted messages to each other throughout the war. Well, the movie has some controversy because, uh, again, it portrayed a group of American sailors, Marines doing this when, in fact, the original group or country to capture an Enigma device was, in fact, the British. And I want to say, if memory serves, it was the HMS Bulldog that was the first British sub to capture an Enigma device. Now, at the end of the movie, they do in fact acknowledge that it was a British sub, and again, I think it's HMS Bulldog, that captured the first Enigma device, and then they go on to list other subs that captured the devices, and one of them was American. But again, the movie got a lot of flack because it portrayed Americans as the first ones to capture the device when it was in fact British. But it's actually a decent movie, despite the historical inaccuracy. Only sub movie I've ever seen was Das Boot when I was really young. You should check out Crimson Tide and The Hunt for Red October. Those are both really good movies involving submarines. Yeah, New Orleans took some damage in this match, but she's still going. HMS Bulldog. That's a good name for a sub. It most certainly is. And again, look up HMS Bulldog, Wolf. I'm almost positive she was the first. Her crew was the first sub to capture the German Enigma device. So yeah, a little submarine action going on the other side of the Atlantic. And since we're on the topic of like World War II movies, um, Matt, if you're there, I'm going to ask you as well. So this question is to both of you guys and anyone else still watching. Have you seen Saving Private Ryan? And if so, what are your thoughts? And I want to say also, the 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 builder's model for the Navy, the actual official builder's model for USS New Orleans, is on display at the USS Kidd Museum. I've got pictures of it. Matt has never seen Saving Private Ryan. Okay. Um, Matt, we need to fix that because it is a fictional story. However, it is an incredible movie. Absolutely incredible movie. The premise is, without giving away any spoilers, Private Ryan is Private James Ryan. He is in Germany, or not, well, maybe not in Germany. The movie opens up with the D-Day invasion. We're storming the beaches at Normandy and continues after the fact. Private Ryan is one of four brothers. Three of his brothers are killed in action. The Army decides that, I want to say it's the Chief of Staff actually decides that Ryan has lost three of his brothers. He's going to come home. In their view, he earns the right to go home because he is the last of his bloodline, of his family that can, I guess, can carry on their name or whatever. And Tom Hanks and his squad are. Then he sets out on a mission to find Private Ryan and save him, and that's the premise of the movie. Wolf, I've never seen Saving Private Ryan either. Both of you guys really need to watch that movie. It's really, really incredible. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna. What I just told you about the movie is that's all I'm going to tell you about it because I don't want to spoil anything for you. That's the basic premise of the movie. Looks like that ship's going to get caught up on a sunken ship, or the ship that's sinking. Yeah, you guys look up, look and see where you can stream that movie, and definitely give it a look. I'm gonna grab a quick drink of water, guys. Just give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Tom Hanks, but wasn't he busy protecting convoys from German U-boats at the movie as the movie takes place? Not in Saving Private Ryan. Not in Saving Private Ryan. And Tom Hanks is actually like a big history buff. If memory serves, so you know that we have the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, which is a five-star attraction. The place is absolutely incredible. I can stay in there all day and never get bored. And Wolf, you probably would be the same way. Um, Um, crap, forgot what I was going to say. So actually, he's a big history buff as well, and Tom Hanks had a lot to do with with helping that museum get off the ground. I want to say, if memory serves, and I could be wrong, when the museum first opened, and it's about 20 years ago or so, it was just a D-Day museum, if I remember correctly. And it expanded and grew into what it is now, which is a National World War II museum. And Tom Hanks had a lot to do with that. There's actually a movie, and I forget the name of it, that you can watch. That is, you can only watch it in the World War II museum. You cannot find it online. It was never in a theater. And I don't know if it's an actual scripted movie or if it's just a documentary, but it is narrated by Tom Hanks. So I say narrated, so it's probably a documentary. And that is the only place where you can watch this particular film. I haven't done it yet because I've done pretty much all the other attractions that are within the museum first, and it's on my agenda next time I go back to the museum. Wolf, as a World War II history fan, I need to visit a World War II museum since I've never seen a single thing from World War II in person. Well, and I know you're in Texas, Wolf. I don't know what part of Texas you're in, but depending on how close you are to Louisiana, you've got the National World War II Museum here. You've got the Kid here. And of course, right there in Galveston, you've got three vessels that were involved in World War II. So you got a lot of history right there at your fingertips. Will says Iowa Class VB. Okay, this was done intentionally. We started off the stream the way we started World War II, the Arizona. We're going to finish the stream. How could we do it with any other way than with an Iowa class battleship? So yeah, we're gonna watch the Iowa wreck shop here. But anyway, yeah. So you've got the World War II museum here. You've got the Kid here. You've got three ships in Galveston that were all involved in World War II that you can go and tour. So you definitely need to, get that done at some point. And if you go to the World War II Museum, they do have a piece of the Arizona's hull at the World War II Museum. And if you ever make it to that museum or the Kid, let me know, and I'll go do those tours with you because I never get tired of them. I can't remember how many times I've been on the Kid now. I've been to the museum 4 or 5 times, and I never get tired of that. So, well, if only the song "Thunderstruck" from Battleship wasn't copyrighted, right? How cool would it be to be playing that right now? It's funny that they have not put the actual USS Missouri in this game yet. I mean, we have the Iowa class, but we don't have the actual Missouri. I don't know why they did it that way. And with the South Dakota class, it's opposite. We have the USS Alabama, but we do not have just like the South Dakota class, or the USS South Dakota. Yeah, Wolf, I will definitely visit Galveston hopefully next year. If I was you, Wolf, I would wait until they reopen the Texas for you to go and do like a regular tour, unless you're adamant on doing the dry dock tour. But I think the dry dock tour stops in January. So if your intention is to do the dry dock tour, you may want to check on the availability of that before you plan a trip out there. Let's see. My one goal, besides from getting a girlfriend, is seeing USS Texas. Well, I can't help you with either one of those. You're going to have to help yourself on those. I do wish you all the best, though. I hope both happen for you. Oh, yeah. Iowa wrecking shop here already. And to think there was supposed to be 5 Iowas. We ended up with 4 because the Kentucky, they built the hull, but then decided not to finish the ship, so we never got USS Kentucky. Anytime. Yeah, visiting in Iowa is one of my dream tours. Of course, Missouri is the one I want to see the most, but I'll take visiting any one of them. Let's see. And now they just need to release an update that gives Iowa missiles, and this ship would be unstoppable, right? I want to say I remember, and I could be wrong on this. I seem to remember reading somewhere that, and it may not have been the Iowas, but one class of U.S. battleships had torpedoes. Because it's one thing I've always noticed that some of the other ships in World of Warships from other countries have torpedoes, but none of the U.S. battleships have them. And I could have swore I read somewhere that one of the U.S. battleships did have torpedoes, but I could be wrong on that. Because imagine if she had the ability to launch torpedoes as well. So even other ships that would typically try to torpedo a battleship, they wouldn't dare get close to her. Yeah, they also need to put some other ships for sale too. Texas has been on sale for a couple of months. It's time to put something else on sale, like maybe the Arizona, so I can get the Arizona, or the Alabama, or the Kid. They have so many that I want, but their DLC prices are outrageous. Caught a little lag there. And so one of the ships, and I think it was you that showed me, Wolf, was one of the Iowas is decorated from head to toe in Christmas lights. I forget which one it is. Wolf, I will never understand why a digital ship is almost $60, right? Yeah, I refuse to pay those type of prices. I don't care how bad I want the ship. That's just not happening. I mean, they want $50 for the Alabama. I want the Alabama in the worst way. I mean, you know, see that? Tell me I don't want the Alabama. I want the Kid. The Kid's $35. I'm not paying those type of prices for any DLC under no circumstances. It says I could play all 4 Iowa class. I could buy all 4 Iowa class battleships at 1/700 scale for the same price. Exactly. And I do intend to build another Missouri at some point, because that is a waterline model. And as you know from talking with me in Discord, I'm not the biggest fan of waterline models. I didn't really know the difference at the time I bought that. That's when I was still first getting into the model building. So when I remember opening the box, I'm like, okay, well, here's the rudder. Where are the propellers? And I look and look and look. I'm like, I don't understand this. I'm like, man, this is gonna suck. Ship ain't got no propellers. And that's when I learned what the difference was. I was like, okay, well, I don't really want too many of these. The ship that had all the Christmas lights is USS Wisconsin, Big Whiskey, BB-64. All right, so we're getting close to the end of the stream here, guys. So I'm not going to shut us off just yet, but I'm going to go run through our content schedule like I always do. So our content schedule is as follows. All times are Central Standard Times, and it's Monday through Fridays. We have a quiz question every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Time, and it's usually ship related, ocean liners, battleships, whatever the case may be. 10 o'clock, we have the random poll of the day, which is about anything and everything. Monday through Friday at 11 a.m., the video short of the day comes out. On Friday mornings at 7 a.m., the video of the week comes out. This week's was part one of the building of that USS New Orleans right there. Part two will be out next week. And every Friday at 7 p.m., our 1 hour live stream, or as we call it, the Histo Chat Podcast, which is what you're seeing here. Let's see. Will says, I went to get all 4 Iowa-class battleships one day. Currently, I only have whiskey. You know what's good about that is it's possible, even if they don't make all 4, because you can just do a conversion. Which reminds me, before we sign off, those of you in the Discord, you already know what the next build video is going to be after New Orleans, but I'm going to show you guys here. So here we go. This here, as you can see, USS the Sullivan. She's a Fletcher-class destroyer. But notice this sticker right here. USS Kidd, DD-661. So for sister ships, the Sullivans and the Kidd are virtually identical. So I have bought the USS Sullivans with the intention of converting it to the USS Kidd. And if you're wondering where I got this sticker from, whenever you go to tour the actual USS Kidd, when you go to the museum, they give you this sticker that you wear on the shirt, and that's proof, that you paid for the ticket and you can go on board the ship. So the only thing I have to do that's different to make that model from the Sullivans into the Kidd is decals. I got to get some custom decals made, and that's pretty much it. I slap those on, make sure the paint scheme is correct to the Kidd, and I've got the USS Kidd. Wolf says, thankfully they make all 4, referring to the Iowas. Only one to not have a model is poor old Kentucky. Yeah, because they never finished her. But you can do for the Kentucky what I am doing for the Kidd. They don't make a model of her, so buy the Iowa or any other Iowa-class ship, get custom decals made, and you've got the Kentucky. Wolf, it's so cool you managed to convert the Sullivans into the Kidd. Yeah, right? And it's really so simple. Like I said, all I have to do is make sure the paint scheme is the same as on the Kidd, get the custom decals made, which I'm talking to a guy right now about that, and I'm going to have the Kidd. Now, I'm super excited about that. And actually, that ship is actually mostly done right now. Oh, and I checked the paint. I'm waiting for the deck paint to come in. I got an update on that today. It's in Hutchins, Texas, which is basically Dallas. It's like a suburb of Dallas. So that's going to be coming soon. Once the deck is painted, basically all I've got to do is glue the whole pieces together, then attach all the pieces to the deck, attach the deck to the hull. Boom, done. I'm actually hoping to maybe even have it done by next weekend, with the exception of the decals, because I don't have them yet. Making Kentucky would be fun since I could get creative with the camouflage. Yeah, I mean, you've got an open field to be able to do whatever you want with it, really. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is we're going to finish watching this match that we've got up right now, and when that is over, we're going to call it a wrap. Yeah, so some other ships that I'm going to be looking at, and of course ships that were involved in World War II. The hobby shop I go to has the Gato class sub, which the USS Drum is, which you can tour at the USS Alabama Museum. I'm going to make the Drum. Um, I'm undecided on which aircraft carrier I want to build. I do want to build a carrier. Right now, I'm leaning towards the Nimitz, which, of course, was not involved in World War II, but it's a personal favorite because I really like that movie that the Nimitz was in, The Final Countdown. I know I could put a giant Kentucky Fried Chicken logo on the turret, and you could put Church's on the other side or Chick-fil-A. You know, you have no limit as to what you can do with it. Yeah, if you that's another one. And actually that movie's on Peacock. The Final Countdown. It's an old movie, probably came out in the early '80s, and it stars the USS Nimitz. And we've been talking about Pearl Harbor. The premise of that movie is the USS Nimitz is out at sea, going through sea trials or whatever, and they go through a like a time warp, and the date that the ship is transported to back in time is December 6th, 1941. And they eventually get to the point where they realize that they've actually traveled back in time. And what date they've traveled to back in time. So they have a decision to make. Do they alter history and interfere in Pearl Harbor, or do they let the attack happen? Because remember, we're talking about a ship that is technologically more advanced than anything that happened, that they had back in 1941. A ship that came out, it was Nimitz is a nuclear-powered carrier. Nothing built during the time of World War One would have been able to put up a fight against that. So they could easily interfere if they wanted to, but will they? See, is we're going to take another hit from a torp here. Looks like it. Yes, took another hit. But this is an Iowa ship here. You will not sink this battleship. Let's see. You could also get the 1-7 trumpeter USS Yorktown CV-10. Yes, that's a possibility. The Japanese Zeros would be so dead if they had to go up against modern jets. Exactly. And even jets from back then, because like I said, this movie took place in late 70s, early 80s. So it would have been whatever the jets were at the time. And I don't know off the top of my head what they are, but a Japanese Zero has no shot against that. Also, another one you can watch, not necessarily ship related, is Oppenheimer. Came out earlier this year. It's about the Trinity Project. You got a heel up going here. I told you they will not sink this battleship. Yeah, not scoring too many hits in this match, but I said she's holding her own. Yeah, it looks like our group's actually doing pretty good. All right, Chad. I tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up a little early. Well, not really early. We're actually we're almost 10 minutes past schedule. So thanks everyone that came out and hung out with me. I know I said I'd stick around to the end of this, but I think we're just gonna go ahead and call it here. We got one more comment. Well, if there was one more ship you could go back in time to see, what ship would it be? Hmm. I could go back in time and see one ship. And you specify warship, so let me see. You say USS California. I'm not surprised at all that you said that. I'll just go with the Arizona. See what it looked like in person. It's probably one of the most famous as far as warships go that there is. So yeah, I'd probably just go with the Arizona. So anyway, guys, thanks everyone who stopped by. I appreciate it as always. Enjoyed everybody's company. We will, excuse me, we'll be back next week, same regular time as always. So thanks again, everyone, and until the meantime, you know the drill. Drive safely.